Yo! Today we are on a road trip to the Oregon coast. We are starting off from San Jose, and we started off the day at Marvin's Restaurant Club, Breakfast Club restaurant. And so there we had a Eggs Benedict and also a waffle and a house salad. The restaurant was very good overall. All the dishes were great and the service was great. It's a little bit pricey though, and there was only one thing that bothered us about the restaurant, which is that the door doesn't close all the way, so there's a bit of a draft in the room, but hopefully they get that fixed soon. Right now we are at Leightonville. It's a small, tiny town on the 101 freeway, and we're charging our car. It's going to be about 50 minutes before we head to Humboldt Redwoods State Park and hang out there. We're now at Humboldt Redwoods State Park. It's a park that borders the Northern California region next to Oregon, and we drove about an hour away from Leightonville to get here. The weather today is fairly hot. Most of the drive here, the weather outside was about 95 to 100 degrees, and the weather at the park itself is around 85 degrees. We're just here to hike around and look at the large and tall redwoods here. The park here is actually most famous for the Avenue of the Giants, which is around a 25 to 30 mile drive where you can see and drive next to a whole bunch of very large redwood trees. So we're going to be doing that after we hike around the park for about an hour or 2 hours, and then we're going to be heading towards Fortuna, California on our way to the Oregon coast. Hope you enjoy the trip so far and stay tuned. Today is August 17th, so most of the kids and schools are back in session. So our drive here to Humboldt Redwood State Park was relatively quiet. There was not many cars on the street. However, the only issue that we encountered was that there's a lot of haze in our area in terms of the whole drive up the California towards the California border. There was a lot of haze, and so that really diminished the beautiful scenery that we were seeing on our drive to the state park. When you're in a forest or a bunch of trees like this, you would expect the weather to be very cool, but today it's actually very warm and kind of humid. California, once again, there's a heat wave in a lot of California right now, so that's why the weather outside the park is about 100 degrees and inside the park it's still very warm. You can get a clear view of the haze from this angle. Most of this area is filled with really tall redwoods, downed redwoods, and also a lot of vegetation on the floor. The scenery and the kind of the view that you get, it's pretty uniform. There's not much variation other than the river. So after you're hiking for a while, it may get a little bit boring because there's not much variety in what you're seeing. California is also currently in a very severe drought, and so I think sometimes when there's a lot of water, you'll probably see a lot of creeks and streams in this park, but right now a lot of the creeks and rivers they're pretty much dried up. We've been hiking for about 20 minutes. You can see that I am sweating. It's very humid here and very hot. So that's it for our short hiking in the state park. Now we're going to be driving up the Avenue of the Giants and stopping at various points of interest if we see any on the way. This is one of the car stops along the Avenue of the Giants. As you can see, it's mostly a lot of the same kind of scenery, a lot of trees, some land vegetation, and some downed trees. The Avenue of the Giants is an enjoyable drive with many turnouts. The turnouts let you off right next to the large and tall redwood trees, and the turnouts are also right next to a whole bunch of easily accessible trails that are flat and well marked. So you can easily spend about 2 to 4 hours here, depending on how much energy you have and how much you like and enjoy hiking. There's a lot of variability in the weather on certain stops on the Avenue of the Giants. We're near the Founder's Tree and it's extremely windy here. It's a lot cooler and it's our favorite place to hike so far. If we were to do the Humboldt Redwoods State Park again, we would spend less time around the visitors center and drive along the Avenue of the Giants, making multiple stops and hiking for 15 to 20 minutes at each stop. We had said that most of the scenery at the state park is very similar to each other, but there's definitely a lot of special things you can see with the burnt trees, and also some of the downed trees look amazing in terms of the patterns and the different variations in how they look. If you were to visit one thing in the Humboldt Redwoods State Park, I would recommend that you visit the Founder's Grove. There's a lot of variation in what you'll see here, and it's a very pleasant walk. We're going to be staying at 5 different hotels and motels along the California and Oregon coast. So the first one that we're staying in is the Best Western Country Inn in Fortuna. And this hotel also includes a jacuzzi inside of the hotel room. So we're gonna try that out later today. Our first dinner on this road trip was at Double D Steakhouse in Fortuna. It's a very cozy steakhouse with great service, and we got the crab cakes, we got the tiger prawns on a skewer, and also a 12-ounce ribeye steak that was supposed to be medium rare. So all the food was great. They also gave us some complimentary cheese plate and some snacks, and also the ribeye steak came with a whole bunch of side dishes, including ravioli, a soup, and a salad. So the only thing that was bad about the restaurant was that the steak was kind of more cooked than what we had requested, which was medium rare. Otherwise, everything about the restaurant is amazing. The interior is very spacious, the table is spacious, so we very highly recommend Double D Steakhouse if you're in Fortuna. We ended the day at Roener Park in Fortuna. It's a big park with a whole bunch of trails that connect to the park. So we took a little stroll in the trail, and it's a very beautiful sight near sunset. It's almost as if you're looking at a painting of redwoods.